So we have discussed the type of joint, and just now I told you about the capsular attachments, medial and lateral ligament, and also about the meniscus. Okay. Once you know this, see what are the other ligaments. Now see the other ligament you can see anteriorly, which is called as ligamentum patellae. This one better. So from the patella till the tibial tuberosity anteriorly, you will see ligamentum patellae. And of course, patella is a sesamoid bone which is formed in the tendon of quadriceps femoris. We know this. Okay. Now, in between the lower end of the femur and the tibia, we have cruciate ligaments, isn't it? So, what are the cruciate ligaments we have? Anterior cruciate ligament and posterior cruciate ligament. Okay. So these cruciate ligaments are actually connecting from the condyles of the tibia to the condyles of the femur. Okay, so in a crisscross direction, you will see the cruciate ligaments. So apart from that, when you see from behind, there is an expansion of popliteus muscle, like semi-membranosus muscle insertion will have an expansion which is oblique popliteal ligament and arcuate popliteal ligaments, which we will see from behind. Okay, so all these are the various ligaments. Now let us check once again. So what are the various ligaments we have? First is outermost covering, that is fibrous capsule. Next is ligamentum patellae, what you see anteriorly, tibial and fibular collateral ligaments. Then oblique popliteal ligament, okay, which you see from behind. Oblique and arcuate popliteal ligaments we see from behind, and these are the expansions coming from the muscle semi-membranosus. Okay, cruciate ligaments are crisscross ligaments which are running from the two condyles of the inferior surface of the medial and lateral condyles of the femur to the superior surface of the medial and lateral condyles of the tibia. Okay, medial and lateral menisci are nothing but the fibrocartilaginous discs which we see which are attached on the superior surface of the tibia. You can see this is medial meniscus and this is lateral meniscus. Okay, so that means on the superior aspect of the medial condyle of the tibia, we have medial meniscus, which looks like a crescent. Okay, it has anterior end and it has posterior end. Okay, we identify this as anterior end because this is the tibial tuberosity receiving the insertion of ligamentum patellae. Okay, then this C-shaped, you are finding half semicircular shaped ligament. Here you have fibrocartilaginous disc. This is lateral meniscus. Okay, they make the joint more congruent and they increase the efficiency of working efficiency of knee joint. This fibrocartilage. Okay, and the peripheral area will be more vascular because it will be receiving blood supply from the anastomosis around knee joint, and actually the central area will not have so much of blood supply as you compare with the peripheral area. Okay, now bridging these two menisci, the medial and lateral menisci, we have transverse ligament. Okay, so menisci, then okay, transverse ligament. Now, once you look into this picture, then relations, we do not have many muscles, like anteriorly only that ligamentum patellae, because quadriceps femoris has modified as patella bone, isn't it? Sesamoid bone. Behind, if you remember, popliteal fossa, what are the various muscles we see there? Superomedial boundary, superolateral boundary, semi-membranosus, semi-tendinosus, you will see on the medial side, superomedially, and medial head of gastrocnemius. If you remember that, same thing you will find on the medial aspect infero-posteriorly. Laterally, you will see biceps femoris and lateral head of gastrocnemius. Deep inside, we will see a tendon of plantaris. Okay. Then apart from that, the vessels are tibial nerve and popliteal vessels. Okay, beta. So now for the movements of knee joint, just learn this table. So muscles producing the movement. For extension, we have quadriceps femoris. Can you name the muscles forming quadriceps femoris? Chavi? Vastus medialis, vastus intermedius, vastus lateralis. isn't it? And rectus femoris. Okay. Then locking. Standing in attention position is locking, and it is brought about by vasetus medialis muscle. Unlocking is standing at ease. That means you are not keeping your feet together. Okay, so that is brought about by popliteus. Sometimes this will be asked. Locking and unlocking movements. For 3 marks question, what is the muscle producing locking and unlocking? Then flexion, biceps femoris, semitendinosus, and membranosus. Okay, medial rotation, popliteus, semimembranosus, tendinosus. Lateral rotation, biceps femoris. Okay, all these are movements. Once you know the movements, you should also talk about the applied aspects. So what are the applied aspects we have? The most common problem as we grow older is osteoarthritis. That is nothing but the degeneration of the cartilage, which is seen attached to the uh, lower end of the femur. That is nothing but the, what type of cartilage we have? Hyaline cartilage or articular cartilage, this one. The hyaline cartilage at the lower end of the femur and the hyaline cartilage attached to the upper part of the tibia. As the age advances, this gradually degenerates. Okay, and also the space what we see at our young age, it is not seen as we grow older, and the bones come closer, and the joint space is also reduced, and the bones, they come and they rub against each other. And we have sensitive sensory nerves here, which will be actually rubbing against each other when the person tries to walk, which causes severe pain. Okay, and that condition is nothing but osteoarthritis. Okay, of course, we have knee joint replacement surgeries, which is actually helping us to overcome the consequences of aging, healthy aging. Okay, then that you talk about osteoarthritis better. Then, and of course, what are the ligaments we have, like crisscross? I said the cruciate ligaments. No, so these cruciate ligaments may be torn. Anterior and posterior cruciate ligaments may be torn in case if there is any injury, like sometimes like road traffic type of injuries. Okay, so that you can write better. Let me check what the question paper once what has been asked, because it's an extensive question. Types, bursae also are asked. Okay, muscles, everything we have discussed. Bursae we will see. What is the bone right in front of the knee joint? We have patella. So all the bursae are named based on patella bone only. Okay. So why so many 12 bursae we have around knee joint? Bursae are nothing but extensions of the synovial membrane surrounding the knee joint. That means inside of the capsule we have synovial membrane. And this synovial membrane peeps out wherever there is more friction, and it forms the bursae filled with synovial fluid. So we have 12 such bursae around the knee joint, which is helping in the smooth functioning. Okay, just below the skin, in front of the patella, we have subcutaneous prepatellar bursa. Let us see the picture 3.6. From picture only we can know many position. 3.6. Oh, it's not given here. Somewhere else it is given better. Okay. Below patella, you call it as subcutaneous infrapatellar bursa. And deep to subcutaneous, we have deep infrapatellar bursa. Okay. Suprapatellar is above patella bone. Okay. As I scroll, once I go to that page, I will show you all these bursa. So there is one bursa deep to the lateral head of the gastrocnemius. Okay. Between fibular collateral ligament, also called as lateral collateral ligament, and biceps femoris. Between fibular collateral ligament and tendon of popliteus, whatever muscle you have seen on the medial side and lateral side, between those muscles also we are finding bursa. Okay, bursa between tendon of popliteus and lateral condyle of tibia. Okay, so medially we have bursa deep to the medial head of gastrocnemius. There is one anserine bursa. Just now I told you gyrop's muscles, isn't it, Ritika? What are the names? Sartorius, gracilis, and semitendinosus. Between these muscles, there is an extended bursa enclosing all the 3 muscles, which is called as and serine bursa. Deep to tibial collateral ligament also there is one bursa, and deep to semimembranosus also there is a bursa. Okay, this is only location, and you need to memorize all the places where bursae are present, because bursae also has been asked as a part of this question. Okay, beta. So type and articulating surfaces I have discussed, ligaments we have discussed, bursae we have discussed, movements we have discussed, and applied anatomy also we have discussed. So that is all about knee joint. Okay, then Turner syndrome. What happens in Turner syndrome, beta? This is from genetics. Basically, we have
The next chromosome is less.
one chromosome, one sex chromosome is less, isn't it? So that means instead of two X chromosomes in a female, there is only one X chromosome. One X chromosome is missing. That condition is Turner syndrome. And when the lady comes to us for her physical examination, we will see like she will be retarded in growth. There will be web neck, and secondary sexual characters will not be developed. Okay, absence of mammary gland, widely spaced nipples, then no axillary hair, no pubic hair, or streak gonads, or uterus is not developed, no menstrual cycles. Okay, so sometimes cardiovascular defects also, more or less mental retardation also will be there. So that is about Turner syndrome. Okay, okay, then karyotype. See, whatever question bank you have, beta. So karyotyping is given. You just refer to the last pages. Right now I don't have the soft copy of it to display. So karyotype is nothing but it's a technique. You are generally making use of WBC of human blood sample, collect blood sample, okay, and then just centrifuge the blood and separate the WBCs. RBCs are not used because RBCs do not have nucleus. So these WBCs are lysed, broken. Okay, once they are lysed inside this, whatever nucleus is there, the chromosomes are photo pictured. That means we are taking pictomicrograph. That means what? We are taking the picture of 23 pairs of chromosomes, and then we are looking under the microscope. So that is the importance of karyotyping. Generally, karyotyping is done in case of prenatal care. That means what? In early pregnancy, like suppose if we are suspecting some congenital deformities of fetus, if suppose already first fetus was suffering with Down syndrome or something like that, we generally go with amniotic fluid collection. Okay, chorionic villus sampling technique also can be done. So whatever thing you take, amniotic fluid, suppose if you have collected from the mother's uterine cavity, that amniotic fluid is centrifuged, and the cells which are settling at the bottom, they are broken down and they are just photomicrographed, and we are just checking the karyotype. For a normal karyotype, you will see 23 pairs of chromosomes arranged nicely. The last pair will be sex chromosome, either male or female. Whereas, suppose if the baby is suffering with any syndrome like Down syndrome or Patau syndrome or Edward syndrome, any sort of syndrome can be identified before the baby is taking birth, so that we can plan for medical termination of pregnancy, because if the baby is born also, it will be more or less a burden to the society and also to the parents. That is the importance of karyotyping. Okay, so karyogram, like different pictures are shown, but these 23 pairs of chromosomes are shown in the last pages of your question banks. But just whatever points I told you, it will be given there. Just refer once, you will understand. Okay, it has been asked for 3 marks here. Okay, then from thorax, we don't have much questions. Coronary sinus. During the development, what you see is heart is actually invaginating into the pericardium. Okay, when it invaginates into the pericardium, you will see there are certain free spaces created, like you are finding. This is heart and this is the pericardial cavity. It is just beginning of the growth, primordium, and gradually you can see it has completely entered into the pericardium. Now, see, here you are finding two sinuses. What are the two sinuses we have? One is transverse sinus and the other is oblique sinus. And the outermost area, whatever you are seeing, is the outline of the heart. Only the vessels are shown here. Actually, the heart has been cut and removed. This is the outline of the parietal layer of the pericardium. So between the aorta and pulmonary trunk and behind this venous channel, whatever like fold of peritoneum is here, the free space is here, you call it as transverse sinus. And these are all veins. This is superior vena cava, this is inferior vena cava. These are the four set of pulmonary veins. So here, whatever sinus is there, you call it as oblique sinus. Okay, this has come for only 3 marks, beta. Then after that, we have coronary sinus. What is coronary sinus? It's the largest venous channel of the heart, which is receiving all veins. The venous drainage of heart goes into coronary sinus only. Okay. See, this is coronary sinus. Okay. So what is the blood supply? From where is the blood supply of heart coming from? It comes from right and left coronary arteries. Correspondingly, we have veins also. What are the various veins we have? We have great cardiac vein, middle cardiac vein, small cardiac vein. Okay. So posterior vein of left ventricle. So all these veins, oblique vein of left atrium, if you observe, they are opening into this sinus, which is called as coronary sinus. So where is this coronary sinus opening? Where does this open, beta? Where is the superior inferior vena cava opening? Into the right atrium.
Right atrium.
Similarly, even the coronary sinus also opens into the right atrium. And it is guarded by a valve. What is the name of the valve?
Sebacean valve.
Sebacean valve. Very good. Also called as, if you can't remember Sebacean valve, you can simply write valve of coronary sinus. Okay, beta? So embryology, 2 questions are there. Without the diagram, you won't be understanding. Anyhow, so many questions would be repeated. By next class, I will download this soft copy of IB Singh and we will discuss. 2 questions are there. That is development of urinary bladder and descent of testis. That we will discuss later. Okay. So we will stop here.